Hello, guys and gals, me, Mudahar, and welcome back to the final episode of the Some Ordinary podcast. I've got me, your host, I've got Oompaville, I've got Nux Taku, and our special guest and friend and a producer of the show, the Gamer from Mars. And this week, we've got a lot to talk about because, my God, there's been misunderstandings, one of the largest YouTube empires, possibly on the verge of collapse, the fall of the Roman Empire, so to speak, and God knows what else in the internet sphere, dude.
Yeah, holy shit, what a ride.
So, first thing I want to address is, obviously, Nux. Nux, you've had a internet relationship with a internet bad guy known as Shadman that I guess we've all jumped into the vortex of. I just want to stress this podcast was never really ending because of that. It's a bit of a restructure. I did end up going out filming with Caleb, actually, in Stephenville, Texas, and there was a lot of I guess content plans that kind of came out of it. I really do like the IRL stream or IRL podcast kind of format, so it's a bit more restructuring there. It has nothing to do with, obviously, our relation to Nux. Nux is a PNG character that has always been a PNG popular character on the internet. Controversial, but not controversial enough for us to cut our friendships with him. At least in my opinion.
That's very kind of you.
Good job of really tying up those loose ends, Muda.
Damn.
What the f*** do you want me to say, bro?
I do have to say, I do have to say, it all is damn suspicious. I don't blame anyone.
Oh,
for
yeah,
this.
it was
Dude,
funny,
the
yeah.
timing was insane.
It's a terrible coincidence.
Dude, I hated the timing like this last week, especially, dude. The whole Shadman stuff is wild because it's almost like the fucking weird. It's like the Ret Scare on YouTube. Actually, that's probably the worst way to put it. It's a very serious thing being friends with him, but it's like, so for anybody that doesn't know, Ava Kris Tyson.
To be clear, though, I was never friends with him. Okay, you say Nux relationship with him. There was no relationship. Zero relationship.
Well, like, I want you to explain like the whole messages, because it was like you were setting up a collab to like just parody and like shit on him, kind of like the Andrew Tate and like an Oompaville collab. Not necessarily meant to be two friends in a room together. Just
so first of all, he would DM me stuff randomly. Like I was making like the hentai game show videos on YouTube back in the day, and I guess that's kind of his wheelhouse. So he would message me weird shit. That does not mean I endorse him at all, obviously. Especially because I would make fun of his messages to me. Every time like he would come up, I would make fun of those messages. So that was one thing. The other one is I used his art in a thumbnail once, and I didn't know it was his art. And the second I knew it was his art, I actually changed the art. This is like going back 3 years ago. This isn't like I just changed the art last week. I changed it a long time ago. And I asked him to collab. This is before I knew he was drawing the Keemstar's daughter situation. I did not know about that at that point in time. And to be honest, if I would have known that, I probably wouldn't have asked him to collab. But even asking him to collab was definitely done in the parody Oompaville Andrew Tate style, the way you mentioned it, whatever.
Yeah, I don't know anything about this guy.
The only real criticism is when you were confronted online. I feel like you should just had everything out on the table and like got it out.
I was
That's
completely
really what people latched out
upfront
to.
about this for years. I've never hidden anything.
Also, to be fair, when this all hit the fan, Nux was also on vacation, so it was a lot harder for him to respond to it while he was
I didn't
away
know.
from his.
I don't even know who Shadman
YouTuber
was
setup.
until Ava Tyson. So
Yeah,
to be honest, I don't know who the fuck. I've seen it.
Exposed this all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen Shadman's profile over the years, but surprisingly, and I guess thankfully, I never had any association with him. It is kind of a funny meme though, but that like Shadman's turning into like the Jeffrey Epstein of YouTube.
Yeah.
Yes, I saw that too.
Yeah, it's like our own version of the fucking Epstein files on the platform.
Yeah.
Fucking insane shit. But at the end of the day, it's like I really don't find like aside from that, like the explanation is pretty like well received for me. Like I don't really think that there was anything super duper shady on anyone's part. Actually, in a lot of people's parts, like I'm actually a bit more surprised at how like he became kind of this free speech issue back in 2017, 2018. But then obviously things changed.
Me neither.
Yeah, it was just one of those things where it's like, I guess if you were in that like edgy side of the internet, maybe you knew. I knew about him after the whole Keem daughter incident, so that's why I just stayed far away. I think out of this whole situation, the safest part for me was like looking at that wildfire and just be like, thank God I didn't fucking ever message that guy. Goddamn, f- me. I was like, ooh, thank God. But yeah, to go on to the Mr. Beast stuff, obviously we're all pretty well versed on it. I think most people on the internet are. I think fucking aliens at this point know about the Mr. Beast situation. the whole Ava Tyson shit. So in the last few days, 500,000 messages ended up being leaked out from a alleged Discord server belonging to Kris Tyson. And it is one of those reasons where I'm glad I never go on Discord other than talking to you guys and clicking the link to get onto this podcast. That's about it. Because holy fucking shit, I cannot believe...
Right, sure.
God damn it, dude. Yeah, that is true. That is true.
If you can call that harassment.
But man,
it's a kink.
Dude, that whole loca... Dude, I cannot believe he got that word liar tattooed to his face. I can't believe
that's
a
real tattoo? Because it I thought tattoos bled more and they didn't come in super clearly right when they were done.
Apparently it's fucking real.
Okay.
Apparently that motherfucker actually got himself tattooed, which is insane.
It's like the Joker, the fat Joker.
He is in fact the fat Joker. He got himself completely tattooed there.
Dude. Yep.
But to go back to the whole Ava Tyson shit, 500,000 messages ended up coming out. And none of them are actually good, okay? A lot of it involves, minors being in a Discord server, and then, Kris, who's an adult, alongside some of his other adult friends, just openly talking about, hentai and shit, to the point where they have, bots in the Discord server, with minors present, apparently. There's, NSFW channels. Apparently, they were, sharing photos of that bad Barbie girl, the Daniel Brigioli or whatever, at 14, and just going, if she's 14, I'm 14, allegedly, of course. I just don't understand how somebody gets to that point. Or how they get to a point where they're just doing that shit without thinking maybe it could bite them on the ass, 5 years down the road. You know?
I think these people, they just see it as we're a bunch of buddies BSing in a Discord server. It's you're at the bar talking about this stuff, joking around. I think every single person in the world, if every single thing they've ever done was recorded, they could pull up Smithy stuff. Maybe not to that level, but those people, they were just used to this being their friend group. These chat logs were years ago, weren't thinking, and random people came into them. And if we're going to give the benefit of the doubt, maybe they didn't know people were underage, or they just weren't thinking about it and they weren't intentionally trying to do it.
Lava was a mod and Lava was 13 years old. What are you doing? Yeah. Are you pulling a Sneako on us right now?
The wildest part about that Discord server...
I don't know the details. I'm just, because, I don't know the other side of these allegations. They haven't come out yet. Maybe they'll deny some stuff. Maybe they'll say they won't know. It doesn't make it all right. But I think that just looking at all of this, with how much scrutiny is on Mr. Beast, I just can't imagine what is going through his head right now. He's in the middle of filming that Amazon show. Drama is going on at the Amazon show as all this is breaking out. It's the busiest time of his life, and the amount of stress Mr. Beast must be going through is I don't know how he could manage.
Yeah. Look, I was stressed on my vacation, okay? And I was nowhere near any of this shit. But to be honest, most of my stress... Okay, I'm just sorry to bring it back. Most of my stress was Muda's clip. I was like, what?
God damn it.
But it was just out of context, and I just fell for the bait. Oh, God.
No, it was the whole situation. The thing about the internet is man, I feel like everyone just needs to have the selective learning, even with this whole Kris shit. So one creator came out, this one former employee was a Dogpack 404 was his name. He came out with a 53-minute video that I feel like we all agreed before this could have easily been a 17-minute video focusing on one key point that I thought was pretty up. So there were 3 allegations about the Mr. Beast shit. Allegation number 1 is they faked the videos, right? Or if they ran these game shows or these reality competitions, they faked them. Which so there's a couple legal issues with that. Do you guys know about the Survivor lawsuit?
That they needed to get some sort of manager guy to make sure everything followed guidelines.
They were basically accused that production staff was changing up the entire game behind the scenes. And that's kind of similar to what's being alleged here with Mr. Beast. Now, obviously, if there's real money on the prize, and you got people like that Rosanna Pansino girl that I did the hide-and-seek game at one point and got absolutely replaced by Logan Paul, allegedly, according to her words, then you get to a point where it's So he's making these fake videos, and obviously we've been on YouTube for a long time. We know that what makes a spicy video is not necessarily sometimes the truth if you're doing something like that. It's like prank videos, right? Like if you actually genuinely believed a prank video at some point, then I think you might legitimately be mentally ill. Because no prank video that I think ever existed, aside from maybe a Vitaly prank video where that guy is so unhinged that he actually is flashbanging people, you know? It's like if I found out a Vitaly video was fake, I'd be like, oh, that's weird. He was actually committing crimes openly. Who knew? Clearly we know that he was kind of like setting videos up for them to be successful. That's not necessarily a shock, but is it unethical? Absolutely.
See, for me, there's two parts to faking content. On the one hand, there's faking content to make it look cooler. I don't know, adding some CGI flying cars and explosions and shit, which aren't actually in the footage. And then there's faking videos kind of rigging the competitions towards one side or another. That, I think, is it's fraud, kind of. Like, these competitors are not getting a fair game when they think they are. They're flying in, they're booking a hotel, they're competing for 3-4 days, and they are not in a fair competition. That's I think the big issue. And as far as the extra effects and stuff, if he would have been honest about it, I would have had no problem. But he kept going on podcasts talking about how nothing is fake, it's all real. If we would fake it would be so easy.
The one thing I would say in response to that is a lot of people that get in this mindset of a Mr. Beast type is go, 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 go. Make the mistake now, ask for forgiveness later. You always have to stay above the trend. You look at something like Uber. Uber came into different cities. They didn't get permission to run Ubers there and replace taxis. They just did it. Then a decade later, they settled a lawsuit out of court, and now they're allowed in the city. I think Mr. Beast is running under that same mindset of we got to get bigger, we got to get faster, we got to get more products out there, we got to give more giveaways, whatever to keep this operation growing. Of course, we have lawyers on standby to not cover things up, but like handle issues when they arise. But the logic is you just have to keep on going. You can't be too worried about mistakes being made along the way. And I think it all culminated into this situation right now. That would be my best guess. But what I could imagine is, since this show is so massive and on a scale that no other game show has ever been on before, things are going to slip through. No matter what you do, no matter how well you plan it, no one has experience running a game show with 2,000 contestants to start out with. How do you even have a team of people behind the scenes to manage that amount of people, making sure that no one gets hurt, everyone's being fed on time, everyone's getting the proper medical care? They didn't scale it to that point. This is multiple times bigger than any other show in history, and because of that, problems are going to arise. That doesn't make it okay.
I mean, of course, when you have all those people competing and everything like that, which, I mean, the Olympics are a thing. There's USADA. Like, there are plenty of competitions that are at this scale with much, much, much higher, gold medals. There's been how many Olympics? I mean, it's like, I don't know. I'm just too cynical, I guess, about that side of it.
I think it's like what you said, Caleb, kind of brings up a little conspiracy theory in my head a little bit. Like, I feel like, in a way, Mr. Beast, obviously he's pretty much representative of the entire platform, like YouTube, the online media platform. It's like, imagine if there's like a cynical Amazon executive rep that's like, how about we take a little bit of hits, but we make sure that we send this one YouTuber, this canary in the coal mine from his industry, into our world, make a total fool of himself, and then like, bam, we never have to worry about
interesting
for like the
so he's the bull in the china shop.
Crazy.
And you're contributing to the china shop, you're contributing to the liability while not and interesting. I like that, because to me it just doesn't make sense. Like, I always have like this innate urge to, because of the way that I approach things, which is like with compliance, I don't want to get in trouble. Like, I'm not going to do anything if I'm going to get in trouble. It just doesn't fucking make any sense. So it's like, if he is doing that, it's foolish. That's genuinely foolish and so dumb. And like, it doesn't, I don't, like, why would anyone insure him?
I like your conspiracy, Muda, especially because of all the allegations coming out about the actual Mr. Beast games, the Amazon show that he's been doing. Everyone complaining about how there weren't enough medical care and they weren't getting supplies and food and medicine the way they needed to. Now the conspiracy theory gears are turning. Like, did Amazon sabotage Beast games?
No,
That's
Because
funny.
it's like if you like Amazon, like it's not like they would do it. It's like they let a guy operate with his team primarily. When like in these circles, right? Like especially when it comes to a production as large as Amazon or Netflix, that they would be more hands on, and maybe they were, but like they let him operate a little bit with his own style and flair, so that down the road, some exec from Amazon could come down and say, "Hey, listen." We really tried trusting these guys. We really tried working with them. It clearly didn't go that way. We'll be more thoughtful about our operations in the future when it comes to online content creators. Maybe something like that gets said. I don't know. But it is definitely shady that like when a team as large as Mr. Beast and a team as large as Amazon allegedly isn't following like crazy compliance, especially for a show that involves the physical well-being, right? Like you're telling me you're filming a show in the the hottest months in Las Vegas in Nevada state, and you're not following the most basic shit imaginable to make sure that your contestants are healthy. Like this is like very basic stuff. Like somebody could show on set and just be like, hey, that person's about to pass out. Maybe we should have some water present for him, or maybe we should make sure these people have their medications, because
I don't know. Again, these are all allegations. There's no evidence at this point, from what I understand. Yeah. But like you've had people claiming that people were having seizures and not getting medical attention over a certain amount of time. The hospital staff have been saying that they've been overworked and overwhelmed the nights of the Beast Games. Like, it's insane. It sounds like the Hunger Games. And Mr. Beast became the villains of Squid Game in this freaking... I don't know.
Well, it's interesting, like, hearing the stories of this Amazon show where, like, people, like, full-grown, like, athletic men are pushing aside the elderly people and women to get to the front. They're not getting punished. And then Mr. Beast is just standing on a podium above them all.
With
like,
a freaking
like,
Squid Game.
with $5 million behind him.
Yeah.
You know the thing about it, too, that, like, really just... It's like the one thing that just weirds me out entirely is the person spearheading this is like that Rosanna Pansino girl, so she's getting a massive victory laps. But the thing is with this Amazon shit, so he was so quick to come out and basically condemned Ava Chris Tyson like literally a day after. Like she comes out and she's like, by the way, we mutually parted ways. And then he's like, no, I fired the bitch. Like, okay, wasn't mutual. And like after all these allegations are out of like illegal gambling and illegal lotteries and your show with like people get
like that guy that released that giant video about like the giveaway stuff, that was just like, is this all a coincidence that this all came out at the same time? You know what I mean? Like, that guy, he released a banger of a video. You could say it's a little long-winded, but the amount of evidence and the amount of time he must have put work into that, it must have taken him months to just make that single upload of, like, doing nothing but that. And then the fact that it came out the exact same time the Kris Tyson stuff came out, that exact same time the Amazon show's coming out.
It's coordinated.
You almost have to wonder if, there's almost somewhat... Has Mr. Beast finally gotten to the point where, everyone could say he's untouchable, he's a billionaire at this point? He may have just flown too close to the sun. He got too famous. He's not just some random lowly YouTuber anymore. The mainstream knows who he is. I think journalists
JFK assassination? What do you mean?
There's intelligence communities involved.
In Chris's Discord 5 years ago.
When I say they, I don't mean that like these are all made up lies about him. All these claims are true, or at least there's some substantial evidence behind every single thing, and it should be investigated more. But I think that the more attention you get on yourself, it's the same thing when a person says I'm running for president and starts making their way up in the polls. Hey, I had an affair with this guy and he made me get an abortion. This happened. He cheated on his wife. He did that. Whenever you give yourself a certain level of notoriety and you make yourself more and more famous, you're going to get more people from your past that are going to come forward and tell their story to a journalist, tell their story on the internet. Whereas if you're just some like random guy working a 9-to-5 job, you are more able to get away from your past and skirt by the rest of your life without ever any of those demons ever coming back to haunt you. And I think Mr. Beast got to the point where anything that could come out about him is coming out about him and the people surrounding him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that really also hits too in this situation is like, so obviously we know that Mr. Beast, and by extension, a lot of YouTubers, like their audience is children, right?
Yes.
So what are two things that you probably wouldn't push to your audience? Guys, I'm going to ask you, if you know your audience is primarily children, what are the things that you would never ever promote?
Sex
and
gambling.
Your audience is mostly kids.
Crypto scams.
Okay.
Candy.
There you go.
That was a joke.
Alcohol, drugs.
be selling diabetes.
Right.
You see, no, it's a joke.
Well, gambling was a pretty common thing. Did you see
what Chris's Mr. Beast burger was called? Did you see the name of the Kris item on the Mr. Beast burger menu?
that was a fake. That was a fake one. That was fake.
One. Oh man.
Yeah. That was posted as a parody account.
I'm so disappointed.
The Kris kitty dog shit. Yeah. That was a parody account. Yeah. But I'm glad you guys said gambling. So apparently there's two big chief allegations to Mr. Beast Enterprise that was in this dog pack video. For one, he definitely does not give a about childhood obesity. This much I will leave for Caleb to discover because for sure. This is a Caleb segment. And then the gambling one that I definitely want to take over because it's up. So Caleb, as somebody that makes candy, would you say that your candy is healthy compared to other candies?
No, I would never use the word healthy.
It's
to describe candy.
It's all natural.
And if I did, it would be tongue in cheek or in passing, but I would never say, I might accidentally say it's healthier than other candy, but it's not. It's not. If I'm being critical, it's not at all. It's sugar and flour and flavors and it's candy. It's literally just candy. Yeah. Okay. That's what candy is.
Exactly. What a sales pitch for Sour Boys.
It's
amazing.
Good.
It's really good. It tastes good and it's unique and it's cool. And that's really that's what candy is just an extra accessory to an already healthy, thriving life. It shouldn't be a mainstay. Like most other things.
So have we all ever had a Mr. Feastable bar?
Not.
Like a Mr.
I had
Beast
the first
bar?
generation one.
I've tried one in a video.
It was all right.
Yeah. Wait, Nux, have you ever had one?
Nope.
No? Okay. So I actually had one when I was at Caleb's place last week. Mustafa brought one, a Mr. Beast candy bar, and I tried it. And he was like, dude, this is the greatest candy I ever had. And I was just like, it's candy bar, it's
just chocolate.
Listen,
bar.
Mr. Beast,
chocolate.
if you want me to try your Feastables, make it kosher, goddammit.
Yeah, literally. Well, he makes the candy bar comes out and it's okay candy. I'm not gonna say shit. It's kind of like having it's like having something that's it's like half of a Dairy Milk bar. Half of the joy you get out of a Dairy Milk. I would enjoy that more, but it's a moot point. Whatever it is, it's not healthy. And his whole advertising of it's the greatest chocolate ever made. Obviously, it's world's best pizza advertising. He's not going to go to jail for it. One of the things that got brought up in this video is he does these ghost kitchens, right? Yeah. Where he has these Uber Eats options, and he sells this one bundle that apparently is 1,800 to 2,100 calories in the United States. And he's talking about, I'm fighting childhood obesity, and I'm like, what? Well, hold on a minute. Nothing that you're selling is ever going to be healthy. I don't understand this weird health related grift that you have. But I guess I'll kind of leave it to Caleb to discuss what the health of efficacies of this candy and his food really is, because I feel that's a very misleading statement, and also selling this kind of stuff on that principle is incredibly fraudulent.
Yeah, but also whatever, Caleb, take it away.
Yeah, I think whenever people market stuff, generally they just lie. So it's that's pretty much that simple. Beyond that, it's not his responsibility if children are getting fat. So it's
for me, what bothers me. Oh, sorry.
It's just insane. It's parents are letting their children be. There's this argument is applicable to literally every problem, basically, and that is there's no connection between parenting your child and then letting the internet parent your child. There's so many problems, and it all just comes down to lack of education or people being misled and not being honest. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. When it comes to the candy, how do you feel about the giveaways that they do with the candies? The sweepstake lotteries with nearly every
I think
bar
the sweepstake lotteries, if they're done legally, then that's fine. But the illegal ones that he does. Are
allegedly,
not allegedly. They're just against the law. It's pretty cut and dry. Consideration is pretty obvious based on every single state. There's so many rules to lotteries. There's so many rules. You just can't, because it's gambling. You just can't do that.
Well, even ethically with the free option. So one of the things that I brought up, and this is when I was researching other sweepstakes for projects a year and a half ago with coffee. When it came to Wizza, for instance, the YouTuber run sweepstake giveaway. Usually, so for a sweepstake to work in the United States, the way that a lottery is defined, as the government says, is there are three factors that dictate what a lottery is. It is the presence of a prize, the object of chance, right? Like chance has to be a component. And then number 3 is consideration, which usually means time, money, effort put in. Usually it comes always down to like a purchase. But yeah, if these 3 factors are present, then what you have on your hands is a lottery. Now, the government can run a lottery. Mm-hmm. Humans cannot run a like the average citizen cannot do that.
Also, you just can't enter any of these things if you're not 18 years old.
Yes,
so it's like it's totally irrelevant. Like there needs to be some kind of it's just compliance. He's being dishonest. If all that stuff's true, he's just being dishonest, and that is a huge problem that needs to be solved. Like I don't know what part of any of this stuff is real and like what's not real with Mr. Beast. I don't really care. I don't like to think about Mr. Beast that much.
Fair
enough. Well,
what bothers me about the Feastables so much, what tortures me about the Feastables personally is the idea that his first promotion of Feastables is that it's a healthier alternative to Hershey's bars, right? It's so much healthier. There are only 5 ingredients in Feastables. That was his whole shtick.
And
right?
also, his shtick was that it was plant-based.
Right,
that it's,
sure.
That does not mean it's healthier. There's zero evidence to support any of those claims. But you can say that legally.
But what's worse is, he then changed the ingredients. He changed the recipe.
Yeah, now it's got milk in it.
Now it's less healthy. It's more calories. It's 30 grams of sugar, I think. It's 3/4. Fair enough, but he has the original ad still up. He has the original ad saying it's a healthier alternative.
So and from what I understand, like with Beast Burger, which is now Jimmy doesn't want anything to do with, and the Beast
He's getting sued for that, isn't he?
Yeah, he's there in a lawsuit or something. Neither, like, especially the Beast Burger concept, they had some big giant company behind the scenes that runs like 50 ghost kitchens do that for him. He just kind of jumped in and put his face on one of the businesses, and they just used their supply chains to make some products that were like nothing great. Him in these old interviews saying like we're better than Five Guys and Five Guys sucks. Like he's just delusional, just saying things.
Yeah, it's weird.
Like, and then for the Feastables, I'm pretty sure he hired on the founder of RX Bars, or at least the CEO, to jump over and make the candy bars for him. So the original health aspect kind of made sense if you got the guy from with making RX Bars, which are made. I think they're like 5 ingredient healthy bars.
I like RX Bars; they're good.
They're pretty good, but simple ingredients, pretty high protein for what they are in that category without like having a bunch of like sugar alcohols or trash in them. Mm-hmm. But they jumped over, tried to make a healthy candy bar, do that for kids. Kids don't want that. And then he realized that. So he just pivoted the business away from, the noble intention they originally had to just, we're going to make the same trash as everyone else does with the same amount of sugar and then attach giveaways on it. Like, so kids think that they're going to get rich if they buy a candy bar. They at least think they have a chance to. So I don't think it's like something he should get canceled for. But it's insane to me that 1 month ago, Mr. Beast was living on the high of thinking he could become the president of the United States with an enlightened centrist position.
Isn't that so funny? He's like, I will simply do good. That's what I will do.
I will get people from both sides and then like decide, and then we'll find a middle ground on abortion that everyone will agree on.
Honestly, you brought up the president tweet, and I jokingly said in a video a couple months ago that Mr. Beast was the Antichrist, and it was not even a couple months ago; it was like last month, and it was because of that tweet. Because I was like, oh my, this is getting insane. This guy literally thinks he can jump in the ring. So I'm misinformed.
Caleb, would you say that he has the mark of the beast?
I would say that he's Revelation 1948.
Oh damn.
The thing about like him is obviously I don't have like nothing like I personally don't dislike Jimmy. Obviously, like I've talked to him like once or twice in a DM.
And I have talked to him in DMs. That's right.
Yeah, I've talked to him in DMs too. Yeah. I guess our relationship to Jimmy is like mine with Shadman.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, dude. You guys are like best buddies.
Oh shit! Don't even say that.
No, dude, no, it's gonna get clipped. No, but like with Mr. Beast, he's a pretty like helpful guy. Like he gives good advice. Like he's a solid dude. Like he'll respond really quick. But the thing about like this whole situation with again, it makes me kind of wonder. It's like they obviously have teams like legal compliance teams, everything. Like to get back to that illegal gambling point. This point is, I would say, what Dogpack presented in his video was so dead to rights. So he showed a stream of them giving away merch.
Yeah, that's illegal.
And inside the stream, it's like what makes it really illegal is. Obviously, to purchase the merch, you need to give money to Mr. Beast, whatever. So inside it, he was bundling cash. He bundled like a PlayStation or something, so an obvious prize. Then it became a game of chance, depending on who got the box. And obviously, the consideration was that payment initially. Now, the thing about this is, inside this giveaway, not every giveaway involved a free option. And I want to stress this too, like in my research in like the past few years in sweepstakes and lotteries, the free option is such a weird like situation because let's say to get into a sweepstake, you have to buy a Mr. Beast bar. So that's like, how much is a bar? Like $1, $2 in the store?
Like that, yeah.
Yeah, so the free option involves you buying a specific size postcard and sending it in specific mailing instructions, which costs more than the bar. So inadvertently, the free option, because they don't provide internet-based entry like a sweepstake page. So you have to pay more money for the free option than if you just went to the store and bought the bar and entered, through their way either. So it's such a weird thing with the sweepstakes stuff. It's like, obviously they're following just enough compliance to be legally there, but, out of nowhere, Mr. Beast will be spontaneous in these live streams and straight up turn into like actually providing.
No one's even trying to defend that point. That's the craziest thing about it. Is like those people that were working for Mr. Beast came out and said this video's nonsense, and then they go and break down all the
exactly.
nonsense. And it's like the most damning thing in the video, you just don't even respond to. You're just hiding
that because
like,
to me, I watched the video and everything was like, okay, this is all like criticism I've seen before on Mr. Beast. Like, of course, this stuff's going to be happening. Like with a business this big, and you can decide to like him, whatever. It's like a question just at the end of it, like, can you accept all this for this, etc. But that is like actually bad, like the illegal gambling thing. And I would leave that to a lawyer really to, like, there's all these lawyers who react to stuff. Criminal lawyer reacts to Mr. Beast's illegal lotteries.
Dude, it's going to happen.
Let's do a class action lawsuit. Let's get together on it.
Well, now it's funny because it's like anybody that's not willing to go hard on Mr. Beast, it's like you're being paid off.
Yeah, my Mr. Beast video. My Mr. Beast video actually, I don't know. 97.7.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think it's just like when you're trying to be fair and balanced in the situation. Clearly, people want you to take an extremist side, and I'd rather just I don't know. It's fine to be, especially with something like this. You need to be careful with your wording, right? Like Mr. Beast, I don't know how litigious his company is. I've heard bad things, so I wouldn't even bother risking saying something out of pocket just to Like, even the Discord messages, the 500,000 that got leaked, I've seen publications go around saying these are confirmed, when, like, I would never in a million years say that. Even if, like, 3 or 4 people involved confirmed it, I'd be like, I don't know. It's still alleged. Like, all right, I mean, hey, it's your funeral if you want to deal with one of the, like, $1 billion brand, sure.
No, but also, I like the idea when, I liked your video. I saw your video, Caleb. Again, I don't need to hear my perspective reinforced by commentators. I prefer to hear people with slightly different perspectives. Unless it's involving, inappropriately messaging minors, in which case I appreciate the united stand of everyone but Sneako on this.
Bro, that whole Sneako Charlie thing, did you guys see that? The debate that he had? I saw that.
No, but Charlie asked Sneako, it's like, would you be okay with marrying a 12-year-old? And Sneako's like, for me personally, no. I prefer someone mature and on the same mindset as me.
Yeah, our buddy got a lot of hate for that shit, and I'm like, man, I mean, goddamn.
Are we talking about Sneako, Mr. Beast's former employee?
True.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's taking victory laps around the Tyson shit though. Like, goddamn, he.
No, but the irony is,
I think
Sonny V2 should change the title of his old video back to what it originally was.
Yeah, he should for sure. No, but the irony of the Sneako thing is that according to Sneako, Kris Tyson did nothing wrong because you could marry a 12-year-old according to Sneako.
Yeah, it's funny because it's like out of that debate, it's like obviously like when I was sitting over there, Charlie went with this hyperbole, and he pretty much just like said a bunch of things that he shouldn't have, like probably like a stance that was a little too extremist, something about like kids getting like surgery or something for gender transitioning, which doesn't happen in the United States. Like that's not federally allowed. But he didn't bring that up. He just decided to jump into it, make a dumb statement, and get called out on the internet. But it's funny how, like, in Sneako's camp, no one calls him out for any of that shit.
Because Sneako's already known to be a complete Cuties fan dumbass, all right? Like, that's the problem with fighting with an idiot. Like, he has nothing to lose. You give him 10 more L's, you're not going to change anyone's perspective of him.
I mean, he got a lot of views, though, for both of them.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, no, it's look, at the end of the day, it's like everybody, like, this whole situation has brought out some of the wildest argumentations, and I kind of wish, like, out of all this, especially, like, what I do like about this episode in particular is, like, refocusing on the actual real meat and potatoes of the argument. That is illegal gambling, and I feel like I've shat on the whole gambling crowd so much that it would be very hypocritical to not take a hardline stance on something like this, especially when you know there are children involved in the situation. And you know your audience is kids. Why don't you be a little bit more careful when you're promoting this kind of shit or you're talking about it at all? You know,
especially for someone who like promotes themselves as being extremely wholesome. I think as well. Like if the FaZe guys, I don't think they ever promoted themselves as being like upstanding citizens. That was never their MO from the beginning.
No, they were always like the raunchy dudes. But it's like if you're in this camp where like you're giving back to the community, and I think this is where like the whole Mr. Beast empire really gets it all. Like, I've never found the charity stuff to be like... I always find it weird when people get super excited. It's like, oh, Mr. Beast helping everyone. And I'm like, there's a cynical part of me where I'm like, this is just business, you know? Like... It's
just business, but at the same time, I truly believe Mr. Beast when he says he's going to give it all to charity at the end of the day. I think he doesn't care about money as much as he cares about growth and becoming like the most famous person in the world and richest person in the world. But it's not for him to just go out and buy himself a bunch of Lamborghinis or the biggest house possible. It's just, you get stuck in that rat race of I could keep on getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and that is my life goal, is nothing besides that. I think he's found himself on that, and he's getting burned now. But I think that in the great scheme of things, those live streams that were like very unethical, most of them were many years ago. I don't think any of them were in recent times. So he hasn't been as egregious about it as he used to be. He's self-corrected to a certain extent on his own.
No. Or he's like the company grew so big that he had to get like tard wranglers, and they told him you can't be doing this kind of shit, Jimmy. I would imagine.
The truth is, who knows? I'm curious to see if there's going to be a response. Ultimately, I think he can kind of go one of two ways. He can either try to ingratiate himself in the community and like try his best to respond and fix issues and stuff, or he could just go complete evil mode. Just say, you know what? You want to paint me as the villain? I'll be the villain, and I'll still be the biggest YouTuber of all time. That's the other way he can go, and just completely ignore it and make videos getting hundreds of millions of views.
Yeah, he could just do that. I mean, honestly, it goes either way. But like at the end of the day, I just wish there's a response, in my opinion, to like the whole child gambling shit. That's it. Yes. But
I have a conspiracy theory with Mr. Beast personally. I think that he's gearing up to a big collab with Logan Paul, like a Prime X Feastables type thing. Logan is in all of his YouTuber videos. Dude. Every single one of his YouTuber videos as Logan Paul. And Logan Paul always does super well. Did you see his latest one with the 100 YouTubers competition? Yeah. So Logan Paul not only did super well, but Logan Paul got himself out at the very end. He was in like the top 6 or whatever, and he got himself out on purpose, like for a meme. Mr. Beast was literally riding him to the end. He did a cooking challenge where they wouldn't know that they have to each pair up in pairs, and they blindfolded themselves, and then the challenge comes out and they tell you what you have to do. He paired up with a Michelin star chef or some shit, second place on MasterChef, and then it turns out it was a cooking challenge. All right? Even Ludwig called out Mr. Beast that he thought he was rigging it for Logan Paul. Yeah, and he was in that tournament, right? Like, so I think that they have like this weird camaraderie going on, this Prime Feastables. I don't know, because I think they're in like the, consumable merch game together.
I'll be completely real with it. Like, that is the wildest combination to have. Obviously, two of the biggest social media stars, but goddamn, Logan, dude, it's so hard for me to even mention Logan Paul without being mad, considering his most recent lawsuit towards CoffeeZilla. Sure. Bro, what a actual scumbag pile of shit. Suing
but the fact that he does well in every Mr. Beast knows that he's suing CoffeeZilla. He knows that he scammed his audience. He knows the whole Logan Paul history, but he still props him up in every single collab. Explain that.
Because he just doesn't care.
Because he just doesn't care.
There's the Antichrist. There might be an Antichrist tendency.
Most of these people I've seen, when they get to a certain point, it's not about anything besides what gets me the most views. And Logan Paul gets him a lot of views, so he hangs out with Logan Paul. I think it's as simple as that.
Yeah, I don't. That whole thing also is really weird to me because like Logan Paul's definitely not
a good guy.
He's pretty much proven to be a bad guy. Yeah, it's like pretty cut and dry. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm just foolish, I guess. I don't know.
Don't get down on it, bro.
Well, I mean, I'm just trying to be reasonable. I'm just trying to be fair, reasonable, but at the same time, it's like there's a level of like delusion that comes with trying to do that, and you know, looking at some things because like I don't know. I just don't want to. I don't want to like downplay any
good stuff,
any criticisms that are valid. To the point where they, you know, I don't want to downplay them more than they should be downplayed outside of rationality. I just want to be fair.
Right.
I respect that.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to do it. Like, do I think that... I feel like this is one of those situations where, like, this is one of the largest creators on the platform. And you know, it's one of those dudes where it's like, if he was Logan Paul, like, where he's objectively a piece of shit guy, it would be a lot easier to crap on him. But it's like, you know, he has done a lot of good. Like the money that he's given, the people that he's helped, like you can't ever take away curing people's like blindness or curing people's disabilities. You can't go away with that. Like that's an objectively good thing to do. Obviously, these things now that they're being called out is a bad stain, and it's worth calling out too. It's like just because you do some things that are great, it doesn't mean we should just like if you have a childlike audience, if you have a child audience and you're promoting really up shit, maybe it is something worth addressing clearly and just fixing this up. Just so we never have to worry about this shit down in the road. Maybe that's the best way to kind of put the whole Mr. Beast shit. But honestly, I'm kind of done with the talking of Mr. Beast. I think it's done. Yeah. Like, I think it's all, yeah.
Oh, God. Dude, really? What? The final episode, we're going to talk about Boogie?
So, I mean, it's fitting, right? I've been watching the LolCow podcast for the past couple of weeks.
That shit is a Stanford prison experiment, bro. That is a Stanford. That is a...
Muda, it got to the point where I was uncomfortable with how much you were going in on Boogie, even with him faking cancer.
Nah, bro, you didn't go hard enough.
My thing with Boogie is like, so he has this weird tendency, and this is where my brain always comes in. I do not like somebody that blatantly lies about shit to my face when they don't need to. Like, here's the thing with lying. If it's a big lie, and like there's a reason why you have to conceal it, I can understand that. But if it's like stupid shit, like if Boogie tells me I had pancakes this morning when he actually had like, you know, sausage and eggs, that pisses me off. It's like, you don't have to lie about stupid shit like that. Why the would you proceed to go down that road?
The lies I hate about, well, I hate all of his lies, to be honest. Lying about cancer is the fucking lowest shit I've ever seen. But aside from that, he lies about making believe he loves you. He's like, Mudahar, I have no hate in my heart for you, Mudahar. No hate in my heart. You liar, you hate this man. Just admit it. I admitted I had no respect for Boogie to his face. Come on, bro.
Yeah, it's like sitting across Logan Paul, and like if Logan and Coffee were sitting in the same room, and it's like, you know, I really like you. I'm like, really? You do?
You don't.
I couldn't tell. Like, so no, but that whole show, like, so LolCow Live, for anybody that doesn't know yet, is a really tough show where
it's entertaining as shit though.
Boogie co-owns his own roasting hour, okay? Not just a roasting hour. This is like actually being confronted with shit. So basically in the last few episodes of that LolCow Live, Boogie was questioned about basically everything. Childhood traumas, you name it, right? Because once you lie about cancer, every single thing that you've ever said comes into question. Now, the thing about Boogie is, and I know that Art, you've had experience with him because you told me about the whole VidCon story, right? Like
I can tell it now if you want me to.
Go ahead. No. Fill us in, like Boogie's manipulation.
2019 VidCon, the day after the event, I went to Disneyland by myself because everyone else went home. And as I'm leaving the park at like, I don't know, 10:30 at night, Boogie's sitting on a bench with like two other people, a woman and a guy. And I go up to him like, hey, Boogie, it's the Gamer from Mars. How's it going? And he says, oh, how's it going, Gamer from Mars? To be honest, I've been thinking about killing myself. Never met this man in my life, and this is the first thing he told me. And then he immediately jumps to, oh, by the way, this is my sugar baby. We could tag team her later if you want. That was my first interaction with the man. And I gotta say, it's one of my most memorable interactions with another YouTuber in my life.
Impression.
To be fair, I think he was joking about the second part.
I don't know. That guy is a deranged sexual deviant that needs God. So I don't trust anything that he says. I think when he complains about his entire life like that, here's my thing. Anytime that I've discussed with him, so even the money situation, I don't know if he's like actually as broke as he claims to be. This is something that me and Jackson Clark and plenty of people have talked about. He's one of those guys where he'll find like the tiniest amount of sympathy point to get you. For him, the win is if you feel bad. That's why I don't feel bad. Like, I've never felt bad for him. Like, my thing in life is if you up, either own it like a man or shut the up and deal with whatever consequence that comes for it. He will not do that. He's a 50-year-old guy that will just walk around consistently blaming the world for all of the problems that he self-inflicts upon himself, and will never ever learn about these situations. Will never ever learn or do anything to get better. You know, there was part of me that used to sympathize about him because I felt bad because it was like, oh shit, you know, a year ago, 2 years ago, you feel bad, but now it's like, guy's an actual monster. You lie about cancer. You're hanging out with like 20-year-old girl when you're 50. It's all freaky, degenerate, weird shit. And he's still trying to pass himself off as like the Mr. Rogers. How do you lie about cancer?
Is he still trying to play off the Mr. Rogers
He does this
side?
shtick where every time he'll do something awful and he'll get humiliated for it, he'll, like, even the liar tattoo, like, what, you know the first thing he said on the next episode after he got the liar tattoo on his face because he lied about having cancer? He says, you know, I could finally forgive myself for lying about cancer. Bro, you forgive yourself for defrauding your audience, claiming to have cancer. You forgive yourself? That's so brave of you, sir. So brave of you. How do you move around without a spine like that?
Well, wasn't there another thing on the podcast? Again, like, I am actually not a Boogie hater. Like, I truly just feel bad for the man. I don't think he can help himself at this point. I think, you know, some people are just so screwed up that they're just going to do what they're going to do, and they're not able to change. It's just, it is what it is. And like, as long as they're not hurting anyone else, I think that's like what we could ask for out of them. And I think Boogie's at that point, unfortunately. But again, I really have no ill will towards the man. But you know, the one thing that I think needs to be asked on the podcast is, you know, he's also told me that he has autism, and then apparently that's also questioned. It was briefly pulled up on an episode, but then he like skated by the question. I think that needs to be asked again.
Well, the thing with like autism is like, obviously your social cues are out there. You know what I mean? Like, you know who actually has autism is like, I feel Wings of Redemption. Like, so I met Wings in real life. The guy, he's not a social butterfly, and that's not necessarily indicative sign of autism. Sometimes it can be like social anxiety, especially in like a circle you've just met. But it's like Wings, when you meet him in real life, he just sits by himself, he focuses on himself and him and his wife. Boogie will just be an outgoing guy. Like, he'll come and sit next to you. It's like, how do you have like social anxiety but then you proceed to sit next to the guy that you hate? Like, it makes
no, there's no social anxiety there. I don't believe that a second. You don't go up and like the first thing you tell them is you want to kill yourself when you never met them before. That's not something a person that's you know, shy does.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of the shit that he says, a lot of the stuff that he brings up is, it makes me question it. It makes any sane person question his bullshit. And you know, I don't know. He's just one of those dudes where it's like, I want him to do better. Like, obviously I want anybody to do better in their life, but if he doesn't give a shit, it's like, why should anybody else, you know? And that's just what it comes down to. Like, he willingly has gone onto a show called LoCal Live that will sit there to roast him on a day-to-day basis, and he just lets it happen. And you know what? It's because it's financially a beneficial thing for him. It is the only financial benefit he's getting in his life, and as it sounds, that's the bet he's made for himself.
That was always the interesting thing about Boogie is, back in the day, he would make these gaming news videos and they get like 75,000 views a piece. Like, that's pretty solid viewership to make a good living for
Dude,
himself.
He can make a good living for himself. I messaged him a whole bunch of ideas for content after he came on our show. He said he wanted to take my advice. He didn't follow any of my advice or anything. Literally, I don't know if he wants to succeed or if he would prefer people feel bad for him.
No, it's like Caleb said. There's like a weird fetishization of like being the victim, like the humiliation fetish, which I totally can see. And you know, that's what it comes down to. But that show that he made, like, it's insane how like Keem's worst enemy, Ethan Klein, was like praising him on the show. Like, dude,
Yep.
I gotta say, Keemstar has done an immaculate job, like stretching out this drama over time without him looking like a complete unhinged lunatic against Boogie. I mean, it's gotten pretty bad after a certain point, but he's able to kind of structure it where he doesn't like go all in a single episode. He's able to save it for the next week.
Dude, the way he set up it turns out he is faking his cancer. Next episode, we'll confront him. Next episode, we'll decide if he's fired. Next episode is his punishment. Next episode is his redemption. Like, he set up a whole last season on this.
This is one of the funniest things is he's fired from the show, and it's like Boogie's back to talk about his retirement. I'm like, he never missed an episode. He's been on every single episode of the show.
He was fired for being a co-host, and he came as the next episode as the guest. And
the following episode.
Yeah, but then he came back.
Tattoo his face.
And then he came back. It was brilliant, honestly. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, it's insane seeing it because it's like he's basically made bum fights. Like, he made bum fights a thing in 2024. And for all intents and purposes, it's a very decently successful show. I know that people were like, man, is it fake or whatever? Does he like falsify shit behind the scenes? Let me explain something. The people who are like hosts on this show are so genuinely incompetent that they cannot stage anything.
Here's the thing, no, but Wings is very with it. Like, that's the thing. Wings looks so rational and with it and calm during these episodes. Like, I don't even know if he deserves a lolcow status anymore.
No, this has been like the best PR for the guy, 100%. But it's like you talk to him for you talk to any of these people for like 5 minutes, or like if you're just in their group chat Discord, they are genuinely the most incompetent people on a day-to-day basis. Like, I swear to God, the way that they plan the show out, it is like there is actually no planning. I don't know why I'm even trying to insinuate that there is planning. They are so completely bereft of any actual idea. Like, they cannot like. The whole Boogie shit, this all happened spontaneously. Like, Destiny showed up because Destiny wanted to just, I guess, roast a piggy that day.
No, because Turkey Tom told him about it, and then Destiny started digging into it, and then he got on the show. It's like, it's actually all Turkey Tom's fault that Boogie has gone down on this most recent spiral.
Dude, the whole tattoo shit was thought completely out of nowhere. It is insane, like, how he gets the tattoo done on his face.
I think for Keem also, it's hilarious because Boogie is like, by comparison, Keem is such a nice, upstanding citizen. Right here you have Boogie, scammer, liar, faked cancer. And then you have Keem, nice guy, gave him a platform and everything. I don't know, I love that shit. It's awesome.
Dude, the whole like crypto scam shit. It's funny how like that would have been like a bad thing that a creator would have to walk off, but within a week time, he went from, scamming the audience with crypto to like faking a cancer diagnosis. Like, bro, there is so much evil in the world, and this man just brings it all. It almost like part of it just makes me feel like genuinely blown away. Like, I am genuinely blown away at how there is no moral compass in Boogie. He just does not care. Like, he is hands down one of the most insanely moralless characters that I've ever met. I guess that's the only way to really put it. He is just a weird dude.
To be fair, most of it just falls on himself, though. It's not like he's outwardly hurting other people like in any major capacity. I know he's doing crypto scams and stuff, but even then, it's not. It's more self-destructive usually than malicious against others.
Crypto scam is so funny. That's my favorite Boogie arc, though.
Now that Boogie is doing face tattoos, Caleb, how much would you pay for a Sour Boys tattoo on Boogie's face?
0. I wouldn't pay him.
It's bad branding, $0. Honestly.
That's bad branding. Yeah, that's bad branding. Yeah, 0.
Yo, speaking of all these characters,
he would love Sour Boys, though.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Speaking of all these characters, what was your favorite and least favorite episode of the podcast? Favorite and least favorite guest?
My favorite guest has always been No Carrick. That guy was so unhinged. I thought I was sitting next to a serial killer the whole time.
All right, and least favorite guest?
Dude. I think it was a GameStop.
Yeah,
Matan
Evan, bro,
that guy was.
Yeah, same here.
That guy is actually like recently cool. It's just like anytime you do an episode with like a character, and they're like always in the character, it's just like it never I guess it's kind of like saying the No Carrick thing, but I genuinely don't think No Carrick was a character. I think that guy was insano in the best way possible. But usually when you play with like a character, and they're always in that character, it's like, how do you even do the show, right? Like you just sort of sit there and I guess play along for an hour and a half.
Yeah, I think my favorite guest we've had was Keemstar.
Keemstar's always good.
I loved just the back and forth with Keemstar every time.
Dude, you guys will never ever be friends. That was just like that was like the best shows to have, because it's like anytime you would come on, the thing I love about Keemstar is he actually genuinely believes in the most unhinged conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
Like, to give you guys an idea of like Keemstar, like he'll call you in like 1 a.m. and talk about CIA remote viewing. Like, no joke. This is an actual Keemstar moment. He will not. This is him. Like, he will just talk about aliens and shit to you all the time. I remember when I was on an episode of, like, Mom's Basement, he brought on this guy, Stephen Greer. Bro, the whole episode, me, FaZe Banks, Colossal is Crazy are just out there, like, roasting this dude. And he's like, guys, give him a chance. He's talking about remote viewing to other planets. I'm like, dude, this man has got some...
Nah, the banter was awesome. The banter's awesome with Keemstar.
Oh.
He's also like, he's a real guy, you know? He doesn't like tiptoe around, he doesn't fake it. He's not gonna make believe he likes you like Boogie does. Like, he hates me and he tells me he hates me. And that's great.
You know when this whole Shadman stuff came out, you know I got a message from him.
Yeah, he told me. I didn't want to say it publicly.
He's like,
no.
He's like, thank you. He's like, thank you. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
It's because he saw the same clip we all saw. He thought you fired me.
Yeah, dude. I was like, God damn. Kel, what was your best and worst episode?
Worst episode, probably Matan.
That poor guy. He got all the stars though.
Poor dude.
And then best episode, I don't know, probably one of the ones with Isaiah Winnigan.
Yeah.
Isaiah's always a fun dude.
I just like the episodes where we just are all like buddies talking and stuff. I don't really care about like, I don't know. Mm-hmm. I feel like we try really hard to care about stuff. So it's good to go on an episode and then just be like, this is awesome. I love this.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, the fun thing about like Isaiah is, unironically, like the best conversations I've ever had with him is like the week. Like we wake up in the mornings and like, I think it's like, we're just having like coffee and shit, and he'll just like talk about like, he's like dude, he's like good Keemstar conspiracy. Like every time I speak a conspiracy with Isaiah, it's like I actually get like a thought-provoking idea out of it. Like we have like a fun conversation. I do know when I talk to Keemstar, I'm always like, I feel like my conspiracy brain turns off, because I'm like, all right, I've just been exposed to some of the weirdest shit possible. But Isaiah's always like the best soul to have. When we brought him on like the show to like talk about anything, that was like one of those episodes where it's like Caleb said, it is just literally the boys having a time. And it's the same episodes with even Tom. Like when we had Tom on, same vibes. Tom's a solid guest that we've always had. Yeah. Brandon we had once, and he was a solid dude.
The episodes with Charlie are awesome.
Yeah. Which is, I don't know. This whole show has been a great, fun experience. Obviously, a month or two down the road, whenever like it gets reworked, I'm sure we look forward to it. But like working with you guys has been some of the best experience that I've had in this platform, and I would never change it for the world. And down the road, obviously, I would love to keep doing more shit with you guys, even in a situation like this or a similar style. But yeah, I don't know. It's been a fun experience, and I wouldn't really change anything in the last few years for the world.
Yeah, it was awesome. The real friendships I made out here on the YouTube space, they're worth so much more than the billion connections with random people. And I appreciate you guys.
Yeah. Likewise to you guys. I mean, I've commented to every single one of you. It's amazing that we made it to 2.5 years on a YouTuber podcast when most of them die like after 2.5 months. I think that we had a pretty good run in the great scheme of things. I think we got past like 90% of other YouTuber podcasts in terms of how long we could keep it going for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and we had a good time doing it.
Yeah,
but
one of the highlights of the week, and I'm so excited for the revamped version. Maybe we'll see. We'll see how this goes. It's gonna be awesome.
Well, down the road, ladies and gentlemen, I guess if we all have anything final to say, I think it's time to tie it up, boys, and call it a day. Call it a
Go to sour.gg, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Get some candy. It's not healthy, but it's tasty.
Go to Feastables and win a Lamborghini.
Unlike Feastables, Sour Boys is kosher. Take that, Mr. Beast.
That is true. But yeah,
Is
hopefully
it?
I'll have a great rest of the day.
Yeah, it's vegan.
I don't know.
Oh, but isn't kosher a certification?
No, kosher is anything vegan is automatically kosher. There are rules
Okay.
to. Okay, whatever. You don't care.
Well, yeah,
Anyway.
it's good. But I just thought you had to have like kosher certified.
The certification is so people know that it is in fact kosher, but kosher is just the ingredients.
It's all a conspiracy.
It's a
But
Jewish
ladies
tax,
and-
ladies and gentlemen.
Because it's definitely vegan.
It's a Jew
But
tax.
I don't know if it's kosher.
If it's
I
vegan,
haven't
it's kosher.
I haven't paid money to get that certification yet because you have to pay. So I'm not
Jewish
gonna do
tax,
that.
exactly.
pay the
That's
tax.
exactly.
Yeah,
what
I'm not doing
explaining. All right.
I ain't doing that.
But ladies and gentlemen, if you all enjoyed today's podcast, let us know, and let us know your best moments for this show. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe, just like you dislike it. We